Standardizing things leads to innovation and ultimately advancement. When something becomes widely accepted, like the US dollar, well, at least for the time being, and everyone jumps like on the same bandwagon and agrees that that's how we're going to do things as a society from now on. Generally speaking, people don't really put that much thought into more or less mundane, repetitive tasks, like putting on a shirt or even driving a car. So they tend to deviate from those standards. However, for standards to work, they have to be clearly defined, they have to be transparent, and they have to be obviously easy to follow. This is my car. That is the road. I own the car, but the city owns the road. So if I want to use the city roads, I have to follow standard city rules or standards. And that usually means not exceeding 35 miles an hour on most city roads. But you know how that goes. How often do you get overtaken by someone that's doing over the speed limit? It's just human nature.
Officers are on the scene.
But for most things, in 2D, we have things pretty much figured out. But things get a whole lot more interesting and complicated when you introduce a third dimension, 3 fingers, and take to the sky. For hundreds of years, the sky has been more or less uncluttered. But remember those films like The Fifth Element, when the sky gets just filled with, moving vehicles, drones, etc.? Well, that reality has just become that much more likely, and it's all thanks to our consumer behavior. It's all thanks to our impatience. Or is it because the Earth is moving the fastest since 1937? Logically, you'd think that with more people unemployed now than ever before, spending would be down. But it's actually quite the opposite. The COVID pandemic, by forcing people to stay in, has actually resulted in more people spending more online now than ever before. And maybe that is why big box retailers are focusing so much of their attention on expediting delivery service by focusing almost exclusively and in part on drone delivery. You guys see the problem, right? With 2 million registered drones in the US alone so far, add, say, another maybe 10 million? The retailers will want to fulfill as many orders as possible, as quickly as possible, and send out as many drones as they can into the sky. I mean, and that's going to cause air traffic and all kinds of problems. I mean, besides others, there will be a need to track and monitor every single drone in the sky. How do you make sure that the drones will not fall out of the sky, kill someone, falls on someone's head, or crash into one another? I mean, the FAA said that they will make it safe by making everyone accountable. And how are they going to do it? Well, basically with something called remote ID. See, if you want to use the sky, your drone will need to be equipped with a real-time transmitter or a beacon that will transmit unique identifier, location, speed, and other information to interested parties. But the FAA hasn't given any specifics or set the standards yet. For one, how far must the drone be able to transmit? How often? At what frequency? And who will be able to access that information? The technology that we have today is limited, and even Bluetooth 5.0 offers limited range of up to 800 feet. Now, different drones have different maximum transmission ranges. This Mavic Air 2 is rated for up to 6 miles worth of range. You guys know that after half a mile, the signal starts to drop and becomes not that reliable. So the cool thing from all of this is that the FAA has actually changed the rules or standards and is going to allow flying over people, flying over vehicles, and flying at night. The FAA has even created 4 new categories of drones, but the descriptions of those are vague as hell. But for the time being, you can fly your drone freely without having to worry about a remote ID or crashing into autonomous drones, at least for the time being. So ladies and gentlemen, fasten your seatbelts, because this industry is about to really take off.